Hello and welcome to a friendly introduction to Highguard. Here I'm going to show you the basics of the controls, the base, your weapons, movement, mounting, getting off your mount, and just explain how to mine crystals and trade your crystals for better weapons and better armor. I'll also go through some of your character abilities and your character ultimate. So right now we are at the Hellmouth base. This is one of my favorite bases. When you start a match, you're going to often see a lot of players running around reinforcing walls at the base. The reasoning is because the enemy team is going to try and raid the base once they get a magical sword called the Shield Breaker. If they get the Shield Breaker and they start to raid your base, your base's shield is going to be taken down, and then the enemy is going to start coming into your base and raiding it. What they're going to target are one of these 3 points. There's the anchor stone. If they plant a bomb at the anchor stone and blow up the anchor stone, that is game over. If they plant a bomb at generator A and blow up generator A, then they have a chance of either blowing up generator B or blowing up the anchor stone, and that will also be game over. So keep in mind, if the enemy team plants a bomb at generator A and they manage to successfully blow that up, you still have a chance to defend your base at either generator B or at the anchor stone. But generally most teams will want to get to the anchor stone, so a lot of players will start to reinforce the walls around the anchor stone. Now let's have a look at the control scheme for Highguard. If you hold down the options button on your controller, you're going to bring up this menu. Go to settings, go to controller, and here's the control mapping. So L2, if you hold down L2, you'll be aiming down sights or ADS. Pressing R2 will be shooting or throwing something, shooting your weapon. If you have a grenade, you'll also be throwing your grenade. And also, if you were holding your axe, you'll be throwing your axe. If you hold down R2, that'll be a continuous fire of your current weapon. L1 is your character ability. R1 is to ping. If you press it twice, that is to inform your teammates that you've spotted an enemy. If you press the touchpad, this brings up the map screen. If you press the options button, this brings up your character's inventory. If you hold down the options button, that'll bring up the menu that we were just at. Pressing L3, pressing on the left stick, this will make your character go from a walk into a run. And while you're aiming down sights, while holding down L2, if you press L3, this will change the scope on the weapon that you're holding. This doesn't work for all weapons, so keep in mind that you just change the scope on some of the weapons. R3 is your melee attack, also your harvesting action. So when you're harvesting a blue crystal called Vesper, this is what you would use. If you hold down R3, you'll be putting your character into a stance whereby they're aiming an axe, and then you can press R3 again to throw the axe, or press R2 to throw the axe. Over at the D-pad left, if you hold down D-pad left, this will teleport you back to base, or teleport you to the current raid that your team has activated or started at the enemy base. If you press right D-pad, this prepares the grenade. It won't throw the grenade, it will just prepare the grenade. You will still have to press R2 to throw the grenade. If you press D-pad down, this will inspect your weapon. If you press it twice, this will be just a random emote. Or you can just hold down D-pad down and it will give you an emote wheel, and then you can choose which emote you want to activate. Pressing the triangle button switches between your primary and secondary weapons. Holding down the triangle button pulls out your raid tool. This can either be a blast hammer, a rocket launcher, or a zipline gun. Pressing circle is crouch. You will also press circle to get off your mount. If you happen to be mounted on either a horse, a panther, or a bear, whatever mount you're using, pressing square is your reload when you want to reload your weapon. Pressing X is to jump. By default, pressing jump twice summons your mount. I don't particularly like this. I personally prefer to use D-pad up to summon my mount. So if you want to summon your mount by pressing D-pad up, make sure to change this mount summon style to up button instead of double tap jump. So now that you're familiar with the control scheme, let's have a look at what we can do here. Your movement, basic movement in one of these 3D first-person shooter games. Forward, backward, left, right, look up, look down, look left, look right. Aim, holding down L2, fire with R2, hold down R2 to continuously fire. Press square to reload. Press triangle to switch your weapon. Once again, aim with whatever weapon you have selected. Press R2 to fire. Press square to reload. Hold down the triangle button to bring up your raid tool. So right now I've got the rocket launcher equipped, and press R2 to fire. And then I'm just going to go back to the Vanguard. So I have pressed triangle a couple of times to go back to my primary weapon. Now if you have a look at the user interface, on the top right hand corner, this is your number of kills and number of assists, as well as your compass and a minimap and the name of your base. In the lower left hand corner is the face icon for the character or the warden that you've got selected, as well as your username and a color assigned to you. When you're playing with other players, they will have different colors. Right now I've got the color green assigned to me. Those two white squares represent the armor. So right now I'm wearing level 1 white armor, which is the weakest level armor. And then I've got the health bar underneath that. Underneath the health bar, you'll see a blue crystal icon next to a number. This number represents the amount of Vesper that you currently have. When you mine Vesper and accumulate enough Vesper, you can then go and visit the vendor or the trader. The vendor here, his name is Flynn. If you go up to him, you can then trade by pressing square, and then you can upgrade your weapons, upgrade your armor, purchase more wall reinforcements and wall repairs. Also down there in the lower left hand corner, just to the right of the Vesper count, is your equipped amulet, saddle, and helmet. Right now I don't have an amulet or a saddle or helmet equipped. L1 is the character ability. This changes depending on whatever character you are currently playing as. It's unique to each character. So right now I'm playing as a character named Redmane. Redmane's character ability is it's a claw action. So if you notice, if I go up to a wall, I can either chip away with my melee attack with my axe. So if I just use a melee attack on this wall with the axe, or I can use my weapon, or I can go up and simply use Redmane's character ability, which is smashing through a wall with its claws. Just going to reload. The square button also is your action button. So when you're in a raid and you're raiding the enemy base and you're coming up to one of the generators or the anchor stone and you want to be planting a bomb, you're going to be holding down the square button. You're going to be holding down the square button to plant that bomb. Now, I've just noticed that Redmane's ultimate ability is now ready because that was charging. And just jumped over there. Let's just walk up here. I'm going to activate Redmane's ultimate ability by pressing L1 and R1 together. And then I'm going to engage or initiate his ultimate ability by pressing R2, the trigger button. For Redmayne, it's kind of a massive blast that he sends out, and it's really good at destroying a number of walls around him, also causing damage on enemies. And as you can see there, once I have used the character's ultimate ability, then it's going to start charging again. There are ways to boost the charge of your ultimate ability if you find white barrels, such as these are not white barrels, these are just regular barrels, but out in the field you'll see these white barrels trimmed with gold, and they will sometimes contain ultimate charges, and that will help boost your ultimate charge, so it will boost faster. So let's go out in the field. Usually after reinforcing a few walls, you will start with 5 wall reinforcements in a game, and you'll reinforce a few walls, and then you'll have the opportunity to go out in the field. Once you're ready to go out in the field, you would press your up D-pad button or double jump if you are using the default control scheme. This will bring up your mount. Now, if you are at the Hellmouth base, just be careful of the lava pits down here. I myself have fallen down one of these lava pits, and it's not a pleasant experience. So just be aware of that. Let's mount up. And let's go out to the field. So here I'm just sprinting with my mount. The same movement controls as if you're on the ground, but on the mount it's just a little bit faster. So you can sprint. You can hold back on the left stick to slow down the mount or stop the mount. If you want to get off the mount, just press the circle button. So let's mount up again. Let's go out into the field and see what we can find. One of the first things you want to do is be looking for loot chests and Vesper, or blue crystals, to mine the Vesper. So let's have a look here. Here in the firing range, they've already provided you with a number of items that you can loot from the loot chests. Usually these chests will be locked, and you just go up to the loot chest and press the square button to unlock the loot chest, and then you can press the square button again to pick up the item from the loot chest. So, as I mentioned before, in the lower left-hand corner is my amulet, saddle, and helmet icons. And here are the amulets. They all have various attributes. They all do different things. So as an example, this one here is a gold level 4 amulet, which reduces the cooldown of your ultimate power. So if I pick that up, this will reduce the cooldown of the ultimate power after I've used it. And here is a grenade cooldown. So if I hold down the square button to replace the currently equipped amulet with the grenade cooldown amulet, now I've got the blue amulet. You should notice in the lower left hand corner, when I'm doing this, it's changing the color of the amulet icon. So if I go up to the tactical cooldown and hold down the square button to replace the currently equipped amulet, you can see that changed from blue to purple. So watch that again, purple to gold in the lower left hand corner, and then back to purple. Let's have a look at the helmets. So helmet level 1. Now I'm wearing a blue level 1 helmet, which is a lot better than not wearing a helmet at all. And this goes up to level 3. You also have different types of armor. So here's level 1, level 3, and level 4 armor. Level 4 is the best, so if you ever see gold items, pick them up. They usually appear in loot chests and at the vendor much later on in the game. So when you're starting a match, you're going to first start looting or purchasing any items which are blue, and then if you've got to the next round in the match, the next available items will be purple, and then the third round of the match you'll have the opportunity to purchase gold items or loot gold items. That's if you actually get to that point in the third round. A lot of matches I've played, they'll usually finish off in either the first round or the second round. But just keep that in mind, there are different levels of armor and helmets and saddles. Saddles are to increase the mount health and the speed of your mount. So, as an example, if I'm just running around with my horse, and if I sprint with my horse, you can see here is just sprinting around. Not really much of a speed difference. If I get off my mount and now if I pick up that gold saddle, just have a look at the difference. So if I mount up again, now if I sprint around, it's a lot faster. While you're on your mount, look for these archways. So when you're going from your base to the enemy base, have a look at these archways. This blue glowing stuff, if you go through the blue glowing archways, this will make your mount boost in speed. So sprint through that, and now you've got a boost of speed. This is really useful when you've picked up the magical sword known as the Shield Breaker. If you have the Shield Breaker and you are wanting to raid the enemy base as quickly as possible, just get on your mount, look for these blue glowing archways and speed to the enemy base as fast as you can, and then plant the Shield Breaker sword to start a raid. Now, I was talking about Vesper before. These are the blue crystals. If you go in the field and you see these blue crystals, this is where you mine Vesper. There is a kind of a mining mini-game to this with your melee attack. You have to press your melee attack button, and when you do, you'll see a circle appear, and that circle will have to match the white circle in the middle of the screen there. So you have to time it right. You have to press it and then press it again to get that circle right on the white circle as soon as it gets there. It's very fast, but once you get the timing right, you'll be able to get perfect mining mining attacks. So there, you can see there I got 4 perfect, and then I can hit this crystal again and I can mine the crystal. The crystal does not restore this quickly in a real game. This is just for the purpose of the firing range. So you'll see a lot of players mining a crystal, and then once the crystal's been mined, you can't mine it yourself. So if you mistime the melee attack, so melee attack once, twice, again, that's a little bit late. So melee attack once, twice, 3 times, nope, still too late. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, nope, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, got it. 1, got it. Let's jump up here and try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, got it. So that's 5 presses of the R3, the right stick.
My inner beast yearns for blood.
Now, Redmane's ultimate is ready again. Some people, they don't really like this mini game of mining the crystals. That's okay, you can just bring up a raid tool called the Blast Hammer, and you can use the Blast Hammer to mine the crystals. So if I hold down the triangle button to bring up my raid tool, right now I've got the rocket launcher equipped, so I'm going to change that. In the firing range, if you hold down the touchpad, you can bring up this useful menu where you can change your loadout. So here, change loadout. Select rocket launcher, which is what I currently have equipped. Select the blast hammer. Press circle to get out of this menu. Hold down triangle to bring up my blast hammer raid tool. This is what some people like to do instead of melee attacking the crystals and playing the mini game in Mining Vesper. They just use the blast hammer. So if they use, if you go up here and use the blast hammer and just press trigger, you can still mine the crystals. I just got 40 right there. And then you can use those crystals to purchase upgrades at the vendor. His name is Flynn. So let's go to the vendor and trade. So go up to the vendor, press square to trade,
Stopping to gear up.
and here use your left stick to use your cursor and select what you want to upgrade. So in the top right corner, this is the amount of Vesper that you have available. And then here are the weapons, the equipment, and the raid tools that you can purchase from Flynn, the trader. It's very important to purchase armor. You don't have to continually purchase all the armor plates in the world. I've seen a lot of new players waste a lot of Vesper on
Ready to be unleashed.
on armor plates. You can just purchase just one. That's enough to give you armor. See, it just changed from 2 white squares to 3 blue squares. I mean, you can continually purchase armor if you want to and run out of Vesper, but I wouldn't recommend it. You need to also purchase weapons which are better than what you currently have equipped, and this is what these icons are showing you. This indicates that I can upgrade my currently equipped weapon with a Corsair. So if I want to replace it with, let's say I want to replace the Vanguard with the Corsair, I'll just press X. Actually hold down X. There we go. And if I want to replace the currently equipped Ranger Sniper Rifle with the Dynasty, I will hold down square. And then press circle to back out of this menu. So now I've got the Dynasty and the Corsair. You will also notice on the lower right hand corner of the screen where you have your ammo and your weapon information, the color also changes, so you know what type or what variation of the weapon that you currently have equipped. So I've got the blue Dynasty and the blue Corsair. This deals a little bit more damage than the white version. Or I should say level 0 of the weapon that I had previously equipped. Out in the field, here you'll find barrels and loot chests. Loot chests look like this. The red loot chests, these red chests will give you weapons. Blue chests will give you armor. So these red chests here, if we just go up to a red chest and unlock one with square, you can see here we can replace our currently equipped weapon with a longhorn. So if I want to replace my Corsair, I can then hold down the square button, replace it with the longhorn. Let's have a look at what's inside this one. This is a paladin. We actually got lucky this time. This is a level 4 gold paladin. This is the highest level of the paladin that we can achieve. You can see it has a number of attributes there: faster reload, faster swap, the magazine size is better, the stability is better. If I want to replace one of my weapons with this, let's say I want to replace the Dynasty with the gold level 4 paladin, I simply switch to the Dynasty by pressing the triangle button, and then I will hold down the square button and replace it with the gold paladin. So notice there now the color has changed on the lower right hand corner of the screen, and I've got the paladin. It also tells you the attribute that is currently associated with that weapon, which is the drum magazine. There are also barrels in the field. I've seen a lot of new players ignore these barrels, they just go straight for the loot chests. The barrels do actually contain some items such as more ammo and war repairs. So if you go up to a barrel and just press your melee attack, which is R3, you'll see on the right side, now I've just acquired some rocket ammo. And there I've got some zipline ammo. So let's go and have a look at what is available in the firing range. We've got some dummies and some walls. Different types of walls that you're going to find in the game. These are breakable walls. This here is an example of a reinforced wall. Now, the warden I'm currently playing as, Redmayne, he can break through reinforced walls with his character ability. Just a couple of shots, and then he can get right through it. With a non-reinforced breakable wall like this one, he can just go straight through. You can also smash through walls with your melee attack. And you can also fire your weapon at the walls. So I'm going to repair those walls now and show you. So here I've got the Gold Paladin. Holding down R2 to fire at the wall. You can see it took a little bit longer to get that wall completely destroyed. If I start firing at the reinforced wall, this is going to take a little bit longer. This is why it's important to reinforce your walls at your base, especially if you're protecting the anchor stone and the 2 generators. There are tools to destroy walls, so during a raid when you're trying to destroy a wall at the enemy base, you can use a thumper charge. If I pick up a thumper charge, if I press options to bring up my character's inventory, you can see here I've got a thumper charge. There's a wall reinforcement. Oh, sorry, no, this is a level 2 armor. That's what I picked up and purchased at the vendor. Wall reinforcements are these guys. There's a wall reinforcement, armor, my Vesper, the weapons and the raid tool, and you'll also notice there's some warden info. So once you've got your inventory up, you can press R2 to go to the warden info, and this will explain his passive power, tactical power, and ultimate power. I go back to the inventory, and I'm going to go to selecting, I don't have to select the thumper charge. I just know I have one there. If you've got a thumper charge available, you'll see it there in your inventory. If you, let's close out that inventory, and now I've got a thumper charge. You can see here the prompt has changed when you're viewing a wall. If you hold down the square button, you'll place a thumper charge on the wall. So placing a thumper charge, it's a detonator, and explodes, and there you go, you've just destroyed a reinforced wall. Now, if you remember when I was telling you about the control scheme, there's a way to hold your axe and then throw your axe. Some players have asked me what the point is in doing an axe throw. Well, it's to cut down ziplines. Ziplines like this can't be cut. This is a yellow zipline. This is a unbreakable zipline. But if you were raiding the enemy base, or if even the enemy was raiding your base and they happened to fire a zipline that was a brown zipline, then you can cut that with an axe throw. So let's bring up the zipline gun. We don't want the blast hammer, we want the zipline gun. So I'm just going to change that. Blast hammer, zipline gun.
Power's ready to go.
So here you can see a prompt giving a reference as to where that zipline is going to end up as. Let's place a zipline from here over to there, where we traded with the vendor. If I press the trigger button, that'll launch the zipline. Now you can see here there's a difference between the breakable zipline and the unbreakable zipline. If I hold down R3, this puts your character into their aiming axe stance. Now if I try to throw that axe at the yellow zipline, it's not going to work. You can see my axe just fell down there, completely useless. It didn't cut the zipline. If you want to recall your axe, just press R3 again. Hold down R3 to aim. Now if you press R3 or press trigger on a brown zipline, you can see there it's snapped and you actually broke it. So that's the purpose of the axe throw, is mostly to cut down those brown ziplines. However, most of the ziplines you're going to find in the game, they're usually yellow. There are ziplines like invisible ziplines, which you can get by upgrading your zipline gun. Again, the zipline gun works the same way as armor and weapons, whereby they have different variants or different levels of the different levels of the tool that you're using. So in the firing range, what you can do is you can hold down the touchpad button again, and then go to change loadout. Sorry. When you're in the change loadout screen, if you hover the cursor over one of these weapons or even the tool, you can press the square button, and that will change the level of the weapon. So you can experiment with the different weapons that are available to you. So as an example, if I go and select zipline gun, and then if I hold the cursor over the zipline gun, I can change it with the square button to unbreakable. That's a level 3 unbreakable zipline, and that is a level 3 purple invisible zipline gun that will fire invisible ziplines. So we've already looked at the brown ziplines, which are breakable. Anybody can cut them down by throwing an axe at them. If we select an unbreakable zipline gun, let's refill our ammo. If I now fire my zipline gun, you can see there it's a yellow zipline instead of a brown zipline. These are the ziplines you can't cut down. And if we go back to change loadout, we can change this to an invisible zipline. So select invisible with the invisible zipline gun. You'll see the difference here between a zipline that's visible and a zipline that's invisible. So if we fire that off again, you can see there's like a bluish kind of zipline, fairly transparent. This is a zipline that the enemy can see.
Power's ready to go.
When you're ready to ride a zipline, you can see there's already a prompt there. When you're walking up to a zipline, just press the square button to zipline. So now you can zipline across. Just ride your zipline. Very useful to get around. See, I've just turned invisible while riding on the invisible zipline. If you want to get off the zipline early, just press the circle button. So riding the zipline, press circle, and now you can get off the zipline early. Here are some more barrels to smash open. I needed my axe. I forgot I'd already thrown my axe over there, so I just pressed the melee attack button, R3, and then I recalled my axe just now. Now I can use my axe to smash open these barrels. So I've got another zipline ammo, more rocket ammo. And here is another reinforced wall. Some wardens can take a few shots at a wall and just break through it. There is a warden named Scarlet where she can shift through a reinforced wall like this, and it's just a one action and she's already through. So as an example, let's change our warden to Scarlet.
The roads paved with golden lights. Glide.
So her passive power is this shifting wall ability. So when she's going to a reinforced wall like this, you can simply shift by pressing triangle.
Shifted this wall. It's amazing what sand can do.
Find some Vesper. Keep in mind that a wall shift does have a cooldown, so once you've shifted through a reinforced wall, you can't shift through it again immediately. You'll have to wait for it to be able to shift through it again. Now you can shift through the wall by pressing and holding down triangle.
Wall shifted. Doors
There we
wide
go.
open.
So that is the basics of Highguard. There's a lot more to learn about this game, but so far just
Mounting up.
play around in the firing range area, experiment with different weapons and different types of armor, and have a look at the attributes of each of the weapons, and experiment with things and see what everything does.